Henry Ford once said the following: anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Take a second to think about what that really means to you. For myself, I feel like when it comes to your passion, you can never stop learning. If you think that you've gotten to a point where you know it all, then you cut your true potential short. In reference to public speaking, there's always someone you can learn from. Having a public speaking coach is a great way to start. They can guide you from beginning to the end. They can be there for every success as well as every mistake. But that's only one way of learning. One of the best ways to learn is to study other speakers. You can learn from all sorts of speakers. I'm talking those who've been in the game for decades, as well as speakers who don't have as much experience as you do. Don't discount any of it because you should embrace learning from them all. And besides, your competition will be constantly learning and it will always be a competitive market. So I know what you may be thinking. How can I learn from a speaker who has less experience than me? My immediate reply to that question is, how can you not? It's easy to have a lot of experience in your craft and think that you're better than those who are less experienced. While that's somewhat of a valid point, it doesn't mean that the less experienced can't teach you a thing or two, including learning from the mistakes or shortcomings, because speakers of all experience levels tend to make the same mistakes from time to time. So how do they deal with adversity on their fairly new journey? Perhaps they're having a hard time making it through their talk without stumbling over some information. Are they apologizing a lot? If so, how's the audience reacting? Does it feel like they're giving out too much information too fast? If so, how does it feel like as a viewer taking it all in? You see, you can get very specific and find many things that a new speaker can teach you, ranging from delivery to something as apparent as how they make use of the stage. There's always something you could be making note of. So please, I beg you, don't be oblivious to learning due to a fellow speaker's lack of experience. Studying highly successful speakers, whether you look up to them or not, should be a no-brainer. These can be speakers that inspire you in multiple ways, or it could be a speaker that does something particularly special which really sticks out to you. It can range from charisma that wins over the crowd every time, to storytelling that's so detailed you feel like you witnessed it yourself. Someone I admire is Gary Vee. Now, I wouldn't emulate his speaking style, but I have a lot of respect for his speaking style. I admire the fact that he always speaks his mind and people constantly resonate with him. He simply keeps it real and remains his authentic self, no matter if he's in front of board members, a conference, or speaking to a small group of people out on the go. His delivery style is one of a kind and is constantly work. If you see a speaker display a trait that you really admire, study them. But don't just make note of the final outcome. Do your homework and see if you can figure out how they're able to do whatever it is that you admire about them. If you want to be a great speaker in your own right, it's okay to learn how others got to that point on their own journeys. Ultimately, you want to master a particular arena or topic. It's similar to how Dr. Fauci has become the go-to medical expert on everything COVID-19. It's also similar to how your local tailor has been in business for over 40 years and he or she has mastered tailoring every type of body size or fabric. You can literally become a go-to thought leader in any field if you constantly learn and work at it. You'll have influences and people that you look up to, but you want to be remembered for things you did specifically well. So it goes without saying that just because you may study other speakers, that doesn't give you the freedom to copy them. You don't have the right to copy their content. You don't have the right to use their stories. You want to be your own person and not a bad copy of someone else. Just like plagiarizing. You may get away with it for a while, but eventually it will catch up to you. And when it does, your reputation is forever tainted, and even worse, totally ruined. So think things through. The goal isn't to take a shortcut to greatness. The goal is to figure out how other speakers became great so that you can ultimately craft your own distinct path on your own speaking journey. If you found this tip useful, please like it and share it. Comment on it as well and let me know what you think. Until next Monday, my name is Julian Leonard and this tip was brought to you by the J. Leonard Group.